We are here with Dr. Humberto Boncristiani.
That's me.
Inside the Hive TV. What are we going to see on Inside the Hive TV?
This is
Now,
interesting.
You don't have to get very detailed, but
I have things to say.
What does your audience have to look forward to?
This year, I can tell you, is going to be a special year. I'm gonna focus this year. I have a lot of other jobs, and now I put those jobs aside, and I'm gonna focus on YouTube because I have some videos that I want to make. I want some topics that I want to cover that are more, how we say, controversial.
Okay.
For example, pesticides, things that people. I want to touch base about the science about this, what is good, what is bad. I want people involved in those discussions. I want opinion from people in the ground, living in farms or facing the consequences of these things, to engage in these conversations. Pesticides is going to be one. I'm going to be talking more about, I have a video series about something that I'm calling, first time here for everybody, Beekeepers of America. I'm going to visit beekeepers and tell their stories on location. So I'm preparing some trips to show some beautiful stories from beekeepers that have generations, 3-4 generations in beekeeping in the United States. Wow. That just build the beekeeping institution that we have here the way it is right now. Beautiful stories are coming.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So you take the science and, like you say, and you bring it down to a level that everybody can understand. And that's what we need.
That's what I try. It's not an easy thing. Sometimes there is compromises, because in science you need to be precise, but when you're communicating science, sometimes you need to do some compromise. Right. And that's where the secret sauce is. Yeah. I'll try my best.
Humberto, thank you.
My pleasure, man.
Awesome.
And here is the different fungicides: Captain, Kenja, Luna, and Switch. So without the presence of the larvae, without infection of the bacteria, the control, everybody needs to survive, or at least close by after the grafting. So she knows that in her hands, the way that the people she put there to work for her did a good job, because the great majority of the larvae survived the 6 days. Cajun, otherwise, when they increase the concentration, the survivorship of the larvae dropped. Boom. With this concentration of 600 parts per billion, almost all the larvae that were exposed died. Luna, Switch, and Captain doesn't hurt the bees, at least in the larval stage, from day 0 to day 6. That was the experiment.
All right, everybody, we are here at the conference and speaking to Hive Butler. Tracy with Hive Butler. And I admitted I do not have one of these. I don't know that much about these. So, Tracy, tell us about the Hive Butler.
Let me see if I can talk you into one. So the Hive Butler, I was a beginning beekeeper. Went out and got my first honey ever. I was so excited, the treasure that you wait for, and I pulled out this beautiful frame of honey and I was like, where am I supposed to put this? In that dirty cooler from last weekend, or this flimsy office tote from China that can't bear the weight? What do I do? So there wasn't anything. I couldn't believe there was nothing designed for beekeepers. So I wanted a food grade, heavy duty tote with big handles for when I'm wearing gloves in the yard. I wanted it to stack securely on its lid. I wanted it to hold all the frames securely no matter how I carried it. I wanted the frames to be spread out so I could put really fat honey frames in it, and I got that. But honey harvest is maybe 2 weeks in a whole year, so I knew it had to work harder than just at honey harvest. So we made a ventilated version of the lid. So with the ventilated lid now, I'm taking it down to every hive inspection. As I'm pulling out the frames, I'm putting them into the Hive Butler. If I see the queen, she's definitely going into the Hive Butler over in the shade. Don't have to worry about her. If I don't see the queen, I'm still putting them in the Hive Butler because I may have missed her. We even gave you 1.5 inches below a deep frame, so if you pull out a frame that has swarm cells on it, you can still hang it safely in there. And it is the bomb for collecting a swarm. I can climb up the ladder, hold it on one hand, drop the swarm in, snap the lid on. It doesn't matter how I carry it down the ladder, everybody's safe and secure on the drawn comb frames. Easy to keep in the back of your car for a swarm collection, so it's just always ready when you get that call to go pick up a swarm. Stores your drawn comb frames in the off season without using that nasty paramoth, and then we made it into an uncapping tank. And it's the only uncapping tank on the market that can work for you during the year because the bottom tote of the uncapping tank can be used with the ventilated lid to do all that swarm work we just talked about, or inspections.
Excellent.
They're all made in Ohio. They are food grade, BPA free.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're very
That is
welcome.
awesome.
Absolutely.
And made in Ohio. Hey everybody, we are here with Paul Kelly from, I'm going to get it right, the University of Guelph.
Got it. Very good, Brian.
So he has some amazing frame displays, Hive Life photos, and I purchased a set yesterday, but I'm here with Paul and I want him to just go through the Hive Life photos for everybody. So,
Sure.
Paul.
That's great. Hey there. Well, we've got 3 different sets here. Set of 10, all the normal things you see inside a beehive. Lots of bees. There's a little close-up there showing eggs and larvae. That's the only close-up here. Everything else looks completely natural and life-size. You can see brood, so on in there. That's fine. There's a really good frame to look at. We got everything from eggs to young larvae to older larvae to cap brood and even emerging brood up in here. So this set is designed to show people everything that you can see inside a normal beehive, including foundation where the bees are working on to build comb. Great educational tool for beekeepers, but even for beekeepers to educate the general public. Got a small set of 4 normal, and over here we have all the gnarly and nasty things. So this set shows diseases, pests, parasites, and there's a number of insects in this one so you can see up close, but this is American foul brood, typical brood symptoms, and a close-up showing scale, just as an example. Here we've got a drone-laying queen, all sorts of things in there. But as an educational package, if you've got these 2 sets, you got everything you can see in a beehive, and you can travel around with it. Don't even need a smoker.
Right. Awesome. Now, we also have here, and I picked up one of these yesterday as well, his belts. Let me pull this one off of here. This belt, I see this in every one of your videos. I've watched a number of them. Can you go through,
Sure.
How long have you had yours?
That's what the basic thing is. The Hive tool holder. You can see how that magnet holds on.
Yeah.
Keeps it lined up so the gooey end doesn't get all over your clothes. But this is a 20-year-old one. I've been wearing it. I work full-time in beekeeping. It's 20 years old, and so they do stand the test of time. Lifetime investment. I carry tools with me. With them on the belt like this, I just strap it on and I'm ready to go. So, but in here, I keep a marker, Sharpie Industrial, to be able to make little notes on the hive lids, a paint marking pen for marking queens, scissors for clipping a queen's wing, and a cage that I pop the queen in to hold on to her whenever we're doing hive manipulations. As soon as we see a queen, we pop her into the cage, set her on the frames, and then we can do the rest of the hive manipulation, knowing where she is, and then we're keeping her nice and safe. So I find that really useful technique, and it actually saves me time when I'm doing bee work. But that's it. So, and it's
Awesome.
all ready to go in one package. You notice it's pretty new looking here. You have to earn the patina.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Brad. Thanks for your interest.
And then do one looking at the camera and pretend we're friends.
It's not founded in science, I'm just making a claim. Because I feel better. How many people have sat next to bees and felt better at the end of it? Okay, because if you don't raise your hands, again, the restroom door is epic. Because I'm interested in bees. There are lots of things to learn about bees. Now we talked about insulated hives, so these are some of the hives I keep. Top left, standard Langstroth hives, yawn, okay. And then we have the one in the middle, that is a flow hive. How many flow hive haters are there here that want to leave right now because we said flow? Good, okay, so you're not haters, totally. And then they have different hive stands. And look at the right one, that is the DeLayens hive, which came out at the exact same time that the Langstroth hive was being developed. This guy was in France coming up with a hive system that you could pull frames out and look at your bees, same time. I mean, the American version was better, but I mean, there were people in France doing stuff too, but he was bee-centric. And Langstroth wanted us to have better facility in handling our bees. So we have the removable frames, right? Again, it's not a heavy lesson, but this is to show that I have a variety of hives. How many lenses are in a drone's eyes? Ballpark. Anyways.
Thousands.
Thousands? That is so general. Okay. 5,000 lenses. Because the drones have giant eyes. And here's my frustration because I'm a science guy. I want to know how many lenses does the drone have? So you talk to entomologists and you get very vague responses. And here's what I found out. It's from 5,000 to 7,000 lenses. It's not consistent. What's the shape of the lens on the eye of a drone or a worker? What's the shape of the lens? Anyone?
Octagon, hexagon, or whatever.
Excuse me?
Hexagon or octagon or...
Well, that's two things. You said hexagon or octagon.
Hexagon.
Octagon is about fighting and being in a cage.
Hexagon.
Okay. Hexagons, which is really cool. They're actual hexagons. I think that's cool. If that's repeated, then somebody said, wow, if their lenses are hexagons, they're equivalent to a ping pong table surface area. So they increase all the surface area. But we have hair all over the bees, except for some parts that are not very hairy. Look at the antennae on the bee. It has no hairs. And that's because all of its sensory ability is interacting with the world through those antennae, and therefore...
My name's Mike. I'm a member of the Mountaineer Beekeepers Association. I'm president of the Monongalia County Beekeepers Association, and a proud member of Newbies LLC with my two counterparts back here, where we provide educational content to the masses on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and all of the above.
I'm Humberto Boncristiani, and I'm a honeybee researcher, and I run the YouTube channel InsideTheHive.tv, where I like to translate science to beekeepers in a way they can enjoy and understand better.
My name is Frederick Dunn. I have a YouTube channel by the same name, Frederick Dunn, and I do a Friday vlog for beekeepers called The Way to Bee. And every Friday, and this past Friday was my 200th episode. And my focus group is backyard beekeeping, and so it's a great way, of course, to reach beekeepers all over the world while you sit in your house in the safety of your yard, because my wife Annette does not allow me to leave the yard. So social media is the method of conveying backyard beekeeping practices that hopefully will keep your bees alive so you don't come after the media.
Hi there, my name is Paul Kelly. I work at the Honeybee Research Center at the University of Guelph. And we've been teaching beekeeping since the 1800s. I haven't been there quite that long, and there wasn't a whole lot of social media then. So the way I learned to communicate bees was out in the bee yard with people. But we work with a lot of young students that have helped push us into modern age.
My name's Greg Burns, and my wife and I raised 7 kids on the farm in Ohio where beekeeping is our business. Yeah, we have a YouTube channel and a podcast, Nature's Image Farm, where we share our family's journey with beekeeping. And social media has been an extraordinary opportunity to share exactly what we're doing, when we're doing, reach people and find those people, meet them where they're at, and just transparently share what it is that we're doing with our bees.
So Humberto, I'm going to start with you. The first question I have is, do you use social media to connect with other beekeepers and expand your knowledge about beekeeping practices?
To answer that, I need to talk about how it started with me. So that's the way I connected. It was in a desperate move when I learned about the more dangerous mites that we have, and it's called Tropicolaps, lived in Asia. And I was aware of that. There is a possibility of this mite to come to U.S. That was 10 years ago. That was my first video on YouTube. It was in a desperate move to let people know what's happening. And at that moment when I shared that video and people start to ask me and reach out to me and ask for more things, I realized how powerful social media is to reach people.
If you do a YouTube or any social media presentation, it's perennial, which means you say it once, it's out there forever. That's good and bad. If you said something wrong, you're wrong forever. If you said something beneficial, you help people for as long as your channel exists.
And so what we did is we were sharing our life on the homestead on YouTube to help encourage and inspire folks to do the same thing. If we can do it, so can you. As our homestead grew and beekeeping came into the picture and started to become the actual enterprise on the homestead, when we got into selling and marketing and having that customer base, we found that just like these guys mentioned before, we can answer that question one time and do it well and do it out in a video, put that information out there, and then rather than answer the same question 50 times that week, we can direct folks to that video to answer that question, which then frees us up to spend more time with more folks answering other questions.
And what ways have you leveraged social media to promote your beekeeping business or hobby, and what have been the results for you?
Okay, first of all, whether it's a business or a hobby, it's not so much a business. My product is information, and the product is delivered free. However, here's what happens on social media and YouTube. So this makes me more wholesome than those are to my right and left, and that's because in 2008, when I started, you couldn't monetize, and the media control, you had a 15-minute max, so it forced you to get your information out in a concentrated deal, but it can quickly become an actual career move. So as your channel grows, you have options to accept sponsors and things like that. It can become your business. You can sell your merchandise, market products. I don't market any merchandise or products other than things that I find that are interesting that I can mention, so then I have an opportunity to help someone else.
That's where I think we all have the most amount of leverage, where 1 + 1 is 3, force multipliers within what we do as a person, what we can speak to with no effort. I find that is the most powerful way to leverage who we are and what we're doing, just by being us, without trying to be Paul or Fred or Humberto. If I just be Greg, then that's going to be genuine and solid every single time.
Great response.
You know, being a beekeeper, first thing I do is look for the back of the book, look for H for honey or honeybees, and I find a map that shows a map of all U.S. honeybee colonies throughout the United States. And being a proud student, the first thing I noticed on the map was, yes, the darkest, the epicenter of those hives, of the colonies in the United States, almost matched exactly with the Appalachian Mountains.
Can you play me? Not really sure how it goes, but it's sad and it's sweet, and I can't wait. I wore a young man too. So joke or allow you smoke. Some place there ain't happening. But still I believe this is killing me. As the smile ran from his face, well, I'm sure that I could be I could get out of this place. Oh, sing a song, sing a song tonight.
Hive that's got 10 frames of bees and they want to swarm, well, maybe we're going to take a split out of that hive. And like, there's other ways of dealing with it rather than having a different kind of management method like that. And that's what we're